Have you ever heard of a Facebook group called Oregonians Against Tax Hikes? Or how about No Blank Checks for Colorado? They look and sound like citizens groups concerned about rising taxes, but they're actually owned and operated by tobacco companies, and they're vacuuming up petition signatures and personal data.
They create these groups to oppose efforts to pass laws either through legislation or especially through ballot measures.
This is Vince Wilmore, Vice President of Communications for the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids.
Every time there's a ballot measure to increase a tobacco tax or pass a smoke-free air law, they'll come up with a front group with a great sounding name when it's entirely funded and run by the tobacco companies.
Tobacco companies are skilled at using Facebook's powerful advert platform to micro-target voters, pushing them to sign online petitions. Companies then gain signees' addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, and open a line of communication through their new relationship with concerned citizens. The thing is, these relationships are valuable to tobacco companies, especially in an industry fighting increased taxes and regulation, and where marketing is strictly limited and regulated. The most recent example is in response to a bill in Oregon, HB 2270. That would increase taxes on cigarettes by $2, require cigarettes and certain cigars to be sold in packs of 20 or more, and tax vaping and e-cigarettes like other tobacco products. A group called Oregonians Against Tax Hikes, or OATH, was created on Facebook on March 22, 2019. Now, a closer look at the fine print shows that this group and its adverts were a project of RAI Services and Altria Client Services, LLC. RAI Services is a subsidiary of Reynolds American Inc., the second largest tobacco company in the US. Altria Client Services, LLC is a service company for the Altria Group, whose operating companies include Philip Morris USA, Nat Sherman, US Smokeless Tobacco, and John Middleton. So what appears to be a local group of concerned citizens is actually a lobbying campaign funded by Big Tobacco. OATH has spent $68,311 on 89 targeted Facebook ads since April last year. These adverts heavily push viewers to sign a pledge with their information, with a promise they'll send that petition to legislators down the line. While OATH and No Blank Checks did send these signatories emails to legislators, they didn't submit the petition as public testimony during the bill's hearings. Here's why that's important.
What the tobacco companies are trying to hide is that they're the ones behind these front groups. They may think they're more likely to be scrutinized and exposed if they submit comments under the front group names during public hearings or through testimony. Individual letters to legislators are more under the radar.
What's fascinating is that neither Oregonians Against Tax Hikes nor No Blank Checks for Colorado make any promises on their websites that they won't use, share, or sell that data that they've collected. And it's not without precedent to do just that. A 2016 study of tobacco industry email marketing found that tobacco companies cross-promoted other products and causes to those in their email marketing databases. As the study authors say, direct email marketing is a way for tobacco companies to avoid restrictions on public tobacco advertisements. On OATH's website, the group has amassed almost 7,000 signatures for their pledge. Looking at just the cost of Facebook advertisements, almost $70,000, that works out to just over $10 spent per person who signs on. Typically, tobacco companies spend about $29 per person on marketing in the US and $250 per smoker. So what is Facebook's role in all of this? Despite its policies prohibiting adverts that promote the sale or use of tobacco products, political adverts are allowed. Getting people to a website where they input their data in opposition to a piece of legislation is a convenient way to collect personal data without selling or promoting the use of tobacco. The strategy of creating fake grassroots groups, known as astroturfing, is not new, as you've seen from other point videos. But it's also common in the tobacco world. Groups like North Dakotans Against 400% Tax Increases or Missourians Against Tax Abuse have been created for various efforts to fight anti-tobacco legislation since the early 2000s. Most of these groups' websites or Facebook pages no longer exist. Those that do, like OATH and No Blank Checks for Colorado, were set up in the past few months, in March and April 2019 respectively. They're set up when a legislative issue comes up and they disappear after it's been resolved. They also list no organisation members, no grassroots organisers, and no staff on their websites. We asked people on these Facebook pages if they knew that they were owned and operated by a tobacco company, and none seemed too concerned. One even repeated the name of the group like they were at a rally. This type of astroturfing and data collection is not confined to tobacco companies. Our first 2 Reddit videos showed that financial services companies are gaming social networks regularly. But for an industry that is restricted by tough marketing regulations all around the world, this is a potentially lucrative loophole. We reached out to the tobacco companies named in this story, and here's what they had to say.
All messages sent by constituents through the Oath website clearly state that the signees oppose tax increases on tobacco products in the state, and RAI and Altria's interest is disclosed on the Oath website and throughout display advertising, a project of RAI Services Co. and Altria Client Services LLC. Personal information sent through Oath to contact legislators is not used for tobacco product marketing.
This has been a joint Point and Engadget investigation. I've been Jay McGregor. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. There has never been a more important time to support independent media and investigative journalism. So if you like the work we do, then subscribe to our channel, send us tips, and most importantly, if you can, pledge to our Patreon and help keep us going and keep us uncovering these stories. Cheers.